Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. We're going to talk about VeChain today, and we know that I talked on the stream about VeChain, how it got a partnership from the government of Hubei. But now that we know that it's got Shanghai and Hubei under its belt, because Shanghai, the health organization, has been actually working for VeChain with VeChain since 2018. Now Hubei's on board. Now originally I said the Chinese national kind of like vaccination tracking, health tracking may not completely use VeChain, but now with these two areas using VET, like Hubei has almost 60 million people. Shanghai's the biggest city in China. It's either Shanghai or Beijing. I think Shanghai's has slightly more people. These two areas definitely are a big chunk of Chinese power or the Chinese political power. So I do actually believe now, more than I believed before, that VeChain is going to be a bigger part of the Chinese kind of like vaccine traceability service. It's definitely the whole Chinese like traceability platform. Even though they say it with like private networks, I think it will actually plug into VeChain's kind of like semi-public blockchain, because the thing is if it wasn't, they wouldn't, like the Hubei provincial government and the Shanghai municipal government would actually never sign on to VeChain if it didn't have the okay from up top. And also if the CCP, the central party, didn't actually have any plans to actually integrate VeChain in the future. So things are looking very, very bright for VeChain. And the thing is, DNVGL has signed something with the government as well, and we know they're exclusively using VeChain. So I think like the Chinese traceability platform, the public part, is going to heavily use VeChain. Now, there's going to be other blockchains in on it too, I bet. But I think VeChain is going to play a central part rather than just kind of a supporting auxiliary part now. Now, is that going to moon VeChain's price right now? No, because a lot of the money into cryptocurrencies is in Western Europe or the United States. So remember, China doesn't actually have any exchanges on the mainland. Only Hong Kong does, and there's a limited amount of funds there. So Americans, like Europeans, really aren't investing in this now. Maybe some Italians with and French people with food gates, but the big giant 900-pound gorilla like Japan, the U.S., they're not putting their money in right now. The one big trigger you could actually look for VeChain, and this goes for Tron and others too, is for mainland China to actually allow an exchange. Even if it's very, very controlled, it would make these Chinese cryptocurrencies go up specifically for VeChain, because once Chinese people figure out that provincial governments have signed on to VeChain to actually build a big traceability platform, they will FOMO into it. And trust me, Chinese people are like Korean people a lot when it comes to these investing stuff. They FOMO in really, really hard. So that's when you can actually really expect a spike, when they actually discover this stuff. Now, that depends on the central government allowing a crypto exchange in the first place in China, which is somewhat unlikely unless it's very, very controlled. Because remember, there's a limit of $50,000 that any individual can move out, that any individual can actually exchange Chinese yuan for other foreign currencies. That's why I keep saying Chinese money is not massively tradable on the foreign market, because it isn't. They don't allow you to port money out of China, and they have to have safeguards to where you won't buy VET and then sell it for USD on some other platform. So they would have to put in some kind of block to actually keep you from transferring the VET to foreign platforms. And that is very hard to do on a blockchain, which is why they don't actually allow. That's the real reason they actually don't allow exchanges on the mainland. It's not any of this BS reason like protecting consumers. It's about economic control for the Communist Party. And that's why it's going to be very, very hard for them to actually allow an actual exchange on the mainland. But if and when that actually happens, I do believe cryptos like VeChain will pump way, way up, because there's a lot of money there, and a lot of people, rich people, will want to invest in these projects, obviously, to get richer. So that is the major, major kind of trigger that you could actually look for. That would be 100 times more exciting than a Coinbase trigger or any other trigger. Because Coinbase listing, let's be honest, for something like VeChain that already has Binance.us, maybe a 25, maybe 50% pump if you're lucky. But if China actually opened an exchange on the mainland and had VeChain and people found out about it, just that would be millions of people buying the stuff all at once. Because realistically, they ramp up this whole nationalism in China. That's actually why they always want to attack Taiwan, because the Communist Party basically ramps up this basically feverish nationalism, which is toxic nationalism. They basically ramp up this toxic nationalism, and then people are raw, let's go attack. But they can, I think people when they find out it's actually a Chinese project and it actually has Chinese provincial government support, they will really rush into it, and that will skyrocket VeChain in price, at least for a while. And that's when you really want to sell out, if that actually happens. But the thing is, VeChain might have a little bit of trouble in the United States. I think under the Biden administration, it'll be probably a little better. for VeChain investors. But regardless, like the US people don't really know about it right now, and that's a big problem. So Coinbase will help that. But like to get actually news on VET, people would actually follow Twitter, follow the news, because mainstream crypto media basically covers Bitcoin and Ethereum. And like the Korean pump isn't really going to hit VeChain because VeChain is not a Korean coin. They'll pump ICX, or something on Upbit instead. So that's the one big obstacle that VeChain has, like getting into the Chinese market, and that's more of a political thing than really like if they actually have the technology or the products or not. So that's basically kind of where we're at right now, and hopefully China will actually allow a crypto exchange in on the mainland because that would really trigger a VET bull run. But the thing is, like, VeChain doesn't completely depend on the US because many of their clients are actually like outside of the U.S. In fact, most of them are. And even if they don't get in the U.S. market, that VeThor burn will actually kick up. So they're not dependent on the U.S. as a market at all because most of their clients aren't actually in the U.S. And I doubt they'll actually get barred from the U.S. because they're technically a Singaporean company. So, and with this administration, I think it will actually be more friendly. Now, like I said, hopefully they get on Coinbase so there's more like on ramps to it. But what I'm really looking for is China actually opening an exchange on the mainland. Even if it's very controlled, I believe that will actually get some people to buy. And that's one event that could really pump VeChain up. If not immediately, then in short spurts afterwards as people buy in. So that is the news for today. And I do actually believe that VeChain is a big part of the Chinese national traceability and health system now. Because like a provincial government and a major city government already signed on to it. There's no other project that's quite like that right now in crypto. And for a public blockchain, I do think China's sort of leaning towards that. I wouldn't be surprised if other provinces started jumping on board soon. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.